So there are a few things that need to happen in a conflict-affected or fragile environment to be able to attract business. One of them is to have available the right information, the right analysis of what the context is, what the opportunities are, and what the challenges are. And that information is very often not available to business and to investors. So there needs to be a mechanism to make that available, to make it easily available, and to ensure that it reaches the right people. Those are the business decision makers or the investors. So that's one. And the second one is to have the right vehicles for business to come into this context, and primarily the right investment vehicles. So how do you channel your money in a secure way, in a way that can manage risk, spread risk, so that you as a company don't take upon yourself all the risks that are associated with working in these environments. So designing creative, innovative investment vehicles like peace bonds or mechanisms that can crowd funds, and these funds can be invested in higher risk environment is a very good way of doing it. Partnerships amongst private sector investors and guarantee agencies like the International Financial Corporation, the multilateral investment guarantee agencies, European investment funds, so that you have the business, the investors wanting to go and invest, and you have an organization guaranteeing your investment for the higher risk. That's a very good and effective way of doing it. But I would say that more importantly is really to change the narrative about some of these environments, because we tend to think about conflict-affected and fragile countries as being bad, everything is wrong, nothing works, and that is very often not the case. You might have conflict in some parts of the country, you might have some sectors of the economy that are affected and others are not. So being able to change the narrative about the opportunities in these countries is very, very important. And the last bit is bringing different stakeholders together. So the businesses, the government, the civil society, those that really matter, so that this information sharing is effective and is broad-based. I think that's something that is not done enough, and that is very, very important. I recently visited Myanmar, Burma, which, as you know, is a country that has been attracting loads of interest and loads of new investment. And there are many companies and many investors that are going into Myanmar nowadays, a bit less so today than the last few years. But the most successful businesses that I've seen run out there were the ones that had a very strong partnership between international and national business people, and particularly young people and young innovators. So I've come across IT hubs that were set up jointly by some international entrepreneurs with some foreign entrepreneurs, with some national young Myanmar entrepreneurs who managed to attract investment and develop really interesting new business ideas, and that's because they were grounded on the reality of Myanmar. And they managed to attract the big IT industries to get grants and funds and investment from the likes of Amazon and Apple and etc., because they had great ideas, but because they knew what the country needed and how to deliver new products to the country. A last example I'd like to mention is in Sierra Leone, where a Sierra Leonean business person, having been abroad for many years due to the conflict, returned and in a matter of a few years set up a big retail company, Sierra Retail, which is now a thriving business. And one of the reasons why it is a thriving business yet and again is because the person invested a lot in building up the knowledge about the country, having been abroad for many years, building up the right networks, but also understanding the need to invest back into the communities right away, because this is a conflict-affected country. People need to see the benefit of the business, to participate, to grow, to be trained and skilled, and that was such a core component of this business, and it was one factor of success.